a simple monotone black wash drawing on this pad. And you can see how the black pigment granulates, gets lighter, starts dropping down. I let it just free flow downward.
With a flat brush?
With a flat brush, yes. I'm using a flat brush. I'm going to come back into the black paint only, and I'll come back over top of this to make it darker in value. See how dark? That's almost pure black. Okay. Now it's because I have this angle, it's starting to gravity is pulling this paint downward. So while it's coming downward, I just want to get underneath of it with some more water. Stripping fast down here, so I have to work faster. I'm going to sop this up because I don't want it dropping on my clothes here. I'm going to use a water brush.
What? You need paper towels? They're over there too.
I'm going to come back with clear water and try to lighten this up. Literally lift it off of the pad here as much as I can. Got a 1-inch brush. It's a Robert Simmons synthetic sable brush. I'm running clear water underneath of this again. This wash, I'm running it down. The more water I put in it, the lighter the value gets. Just one color, black. I'm not trying to make this pretty right now. I'm just trying to make it effective so that you can see what I'm doing. So this is all still wet. I can come back in with the same inch brush, put water on it, pull the water out of the brush, and come back inside here and lift. Lift off paint and make lighter values within this darker area up in here. Now you see it's dissolving the color and I can still pour it across. But now I have a very dark value, a lighter, what I'd call a middle tone value, and then if I keep running this out with water, thinning out this wash as I go down. And you don't want to do this slowly, Aaron. You want to do it, quickly. Run the brush across the sheet. I'll take a smaller flat brush, about a 1/2 inch, and go back up in here and show you that by going back into this darker black at the top, I can lift off some of that black and I'm getting more subtle values in here. There's a value change from this lighter middle gray up here to a dark edge.
And since we're talking about brushes,
Yeah.
do you do most of your painting with flat brushes and round brushes?
Yes.
Okay, so the flat brushes is pretty much how you start when you make a wash like this.
Well, you could say yes.
Okay, now that's a round brush.
I know. I'm
And
picking up a round now.
What is the size of that brush?
This is a number 12 Blink Scholastic Golden Talon round.
It's a blick brush.
It's a
Big
synthetic. It's a synthetic sable.
Okay.
Sable brush, pure sable is very expensive. So you really, when you're beginning, you don't want to use or go out and buy Kolinsky sable brushes that would cost you $200 or $300 possibly a piece. So when you're learning, you don't want to use these super expensive materials. It's just not necessary. What you do need is a decent pad of watercolor paper, which we have here with the, this is Mauveline,
Arches.
yeah, Mauveline Arches.
And it's in a block. As you can see, all of the paper is hooked together.
Yeah, it's glued on the edges so it can be pulled off sheet by sheet. As you see, this is still. I'm going to use the backs of my fingers because I don't want to put oil from the flat of my hand has oil on it, whereas the back of the hand does not have nearly as much. So I'm checking out the wetness by using the back of my fingers, and this is still very wet. So I can go back in here and work.
But you're changing back from the round
I'm going
brush
back from
to
a
the
round
flat.
to a flat again.
Okay.
Going back into the black.
Just tell us that.
Going back into the black. And making that a solid black, strong black. 100% black right out of the palette. But you see, this is still wet, so it's. This is still wet, so it's. The gravity is pulling this paint down. Now, if you want that effect, you know, you can leave it alone. I mean, if you wanted to turn. Oh, wow.
Oh, it's a bug.
But yeah, I want to get it off of there if I can. And looks like I can't. Well, you see I'm using a towel here. I'm using the towel to lift up some of this black value. But if you look at this section right here, that's a rather interesting silhouette landscape. You know, you have light values here at the top. Coming on down, this is a middle gray, which is your, you know, middle distance, and here's your foreground, the darkest values.
And that's done by
Right
turning
here.
the painting upside down.
And that's just by turning this upside down. You know, this is the way I started it. This way. And then by turning it around, if I wanted to stop, I could just say, well, this is my foreground. These are my foreground mountains. Some indication of little trees along the edges.
And a tornado.
And a what? Tornado. Oh, over here. No, I don't want. But the idea is, I mean, watch my hand. When I'm holding the brush, Aaron, I'm actually using my. I'm using. Oh, I'm using my elbow, my wrist, and even my shoulder. I'm using all three of these joints to make the brush do what I want it to do. I'm not just working down here with my wrist. I'm using my elbow and my shoulder. I put the whole of my right arm and shoulder into it. So you know, you don't want to be timid with it. You just want to, you've got to keep trying these things. Now, this is still wet, so I'm just going to work over top of this. So I'm pulling another dark value across here. Now notice, when I have my brush straight up and down, it allows me to put down an even layer of value. Watch what happens when I lay the brush down at an angle, flat as angle, shallow angle to the paper, and I run it across quickly. See what happens? If I like that effect, hey, great, you know, that's wonderful. But I like this better down here, so I'm going to lighten this up. Take my towel and lift out some lights in here as if they were clouds. Or that could be another distant part of a landscape. But I'm only using one color, black, that's the thing. I can come back with, you know, I'll wet the brush again, pull some water out of it. The brush now becomes like a sponge that'll lift.
Brush straight up.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey.
How are you?
Dustin.
How are you all doing?